Let's effing go. That's all I can say. We're talking about Deadpool and Wolverine while Chris.
Wait. I'm not. I took a break.
I know.
I took a
but the video ended.
Yeah.
You just want to stand there and do nothing while you, flush the toilet and come back.
Look, some have criticized us for putting spoilers. Look, usually the way you talk about a film, it's whatever's in the trailer is fair game. You can mention it. Mostly the trailers for this focused on the first act, which we discussed. We did not give away cameos. We didn't give away, second and third act turns of the story. So it depends on what your sensitivity is for spoilers. So our original review, people were saying, there's too many spoilers. Hey, guess what? Don't watch the review until after you've seen the movie if you're really sensitive. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying don't watch the channel. I'm just saying, if you really want to remain spoiler free, maybe don't watch it until after. Yeah. But we are full on.
I just need to mention that when we were talking about the first act, we didn't even talk about the amazing opening fight scene that started
even
the
film.
Opening
scene, we kept it quiet, So, and shout out to the 350 people watching on Rumble. But now it's time to get into it. Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler review. Let's effing go. Alan, tell us the story and set it up in a sentence or thing.
Well, technically I did it on Wednesday, but Deadpool, the universe is dying, and Deadpool needs to bring a Wolverine back to restore the timeline, and he has to go throughout the multiverse thanks to the TVA, and he ultimately finds the worst Wolverine in the multiverse. And the movie is basically their adventure to save the world and save those that Wade Wilson loves.
Now,
that's the only thing he has left.
I'll say this about the story. The TVA stuff was fine. It was okay. I don't like it. Although they do kind of reference it hey, do you know this guy? And he says, oh, you mean Loki season 1, episode 5 or whatever? It's that's one of the lines Deadpool has calling out, you have to know this stuff. That's the weird thing about this film. I feel like the epic, the galaxy, the fate of this entire multiverse, this universe is at stake. That's the overall big story, and it's the weakest part of the movie, especially in the third act when they bring in one of the characters from Loki, this woman.
Yeah.
The crowd I saw it with cheered. I was lame. That was lame.
They actually cheered that no one cheered when
they cheered for that character in Hall H.
Yeah, in Hall H, but
I didn't care. That was weak. The real story about this is redemption. Mm-hmm. Wolverine's redemption, Deadpool's redemption, putting the suit back on. That's the character story. That was strong. But the other stuff, in the background, which got I felt almost like the ending with the music. It was it was kind of like the first Guardians movie with the dance off to save the universe or whatever. It's dumb. We know it's dumb, but we don't care because we love the characters. That was what was really strong about the film. But this overall, I'm going to kill this multiverse and take the timeline. And here's why it doesn't work, right? This is why this movie isn't, a 10 out of 10, right? It's 8.5 out of 10 for me. You're looking at a graphic of here's the universe. It's a line and there are branches. Yeah. And oh my God, the branches are branching off. We have to. That's not interesting. So I'm really telling you right off the bat, the weakest thing in the movie is that part. It's almost like looking at your phone and seeing the battery meter go down, and you're like, oh my God, I have less than 10% battery power on my phone. Right?
Yeah.
That's not stakes. Stakes are represented by people and characters that you love. And looking at a graphic of branching timelines or a battery meter on your phone going low isn't stakes. It's people and that you care about. And on that level, the movie did well. When Wolverine puts on the mask at the end, people lost it. People lost it. It was insane. Like that was in the third act. He puts on the mask and that he's in the mask.
Well, there's a beauty to that because in the beginning of the second act, he's in the suit,
right?
And then in the beginning of the third act, he puts the cowl on.
Right.
I mean, that's how well thought out this was played.
What it proves is this is what my point.
Yeah.
Character equals story. When the story is weak, which almost every standalone Marvel movie that has a villain that gets defeated at the end, the villains are kind of weak. They're weak, right? And the story you don't care about. But Tony Stark is so strong of a character, we care about him. Steve Rogers as Cap is so strong, you care about him. What Marvel, when Marvel is at their best, it's with character. What they're weakest at is a single villain that lasts one movie and they're gone. It doesn't really, and also in the end, when the characters are so strong, you end up forgiving them for that. So I'm forgiving them for that part. And actually, she was a decent villain when she did that thing with the fingers in their brain. When everyone got fingered. Wait, I realized I could finger my bucket.
Yeah, but you're not.
I'm not gonna do it.
Okay, but, let me just address that because the chat is also agreeing that the TVA stuff was not good. But at the same time, that's what they were given. I mean, in order to tell the story, what it did was it took the TVA and it threw it in the trash can and said,
right,
we're not going to see the TVA anymore. And I think, it's one of those necessary evils. And you're right in the sense of when you have Wade and when you have Deadpool and Wolverine in the TVA destroying it, that there's a level of satisfying feeling that comes from that, even though, and because what are they going to do as an alternative to tell this story? It was a necessary evil, and I thought they handled it well with what they were given.
Yeah, I agree. It's like if you're going to tell a multiverse story to resurrect Wolverine, the worst Wolverine in the multiverse, and then give him a redemption arc that is, dude, there were two moments where Hugh Jackman has a moment of reflection. One with what's X-23? Jackie, not Jackie, but that where he's at the kind of just sitting there and reflecting. And there's another one. He's like just talking in the car. Like this is where Marvel does well.
Yeah.
There's a scene with no special effects. It's people talking, and those are the best scenes. Drama, right? And Hugh Jackman really pushed it to the limit. Like he did so good where the crowd was like, whoa, right? Like that last trailer focused on that aspect of the film. And the over the top action, that fight scene in a car was so good. It gets better on second viewing. So like I said, the things I loved about the film were even better the second time. Things that were flaws stood out, and they're there, but they don't ruin the movie. Yeah. So I'm still 8.5 out of 10 for me. So, your mileage may vary. Some people, it's a 6, it's a 7. Fine. I hear you. I get it. But, and a couple other things that stood out. The cameos. They're not just cameos. They're characters that are integral. Okay, I'm going to ruin them now. Blade, Wesley Snipes' Blade is so good. He's so great. It's epic. That line he has, there ain't ever gonna be no one but one Blade. Like I can't wait to see it again. All the Gambit. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Gambit was great. The reveal was amazing, and
The
then
reveal was amazing. Channing Tatum as Blade, where you can barely understand
yeah.
him. Oh my God.
Well, and they called out the fact that
as Gambit. What am I saying?
yeah, but they called out the fact that he was supposed to have a movie, and that the movie was in production, and it just never happened. I'll spoil the big one. Chris Evans as Johnny Storm, because we kind of had an idea of, is this Captain, or, and it was like when say the words, and it was perfect. And to say, and to your point about that they were more than just cameos. I remember I took my daughter last night, and when Chris Evans showed up, she says, "Are they going to kill him right away?" Because that's what we expect, and that's what we've been getting from these cameos.
Right.
Just someone appears and then dies. Doctor Strange, and to see them actually have a role in the story, and to be able to drink them in for a while before you dispatch with them. Was brilliant. It was great storytelling. Was how you handle these things right. Jennifer Gardner, and even bringing Jackie back. She played an important role in the story.
Yes. Yeah. Like all the cameos were substance. They had substance, right? There was a reason. It wasn't just, hey, you're here, let's kill you. Like they were integral. So all the cameos, Blade, Channing Tatum as Gambit, Elektra, and she has a great line referencing Ben Affleck that was awesome. That mattered. It mattered.
Now let me talk about the action. The action is brilliant in this way. It progresses in terms of intensity and in terms of how these fights take place. The opening fight to NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye. That was the great introduction into the film, to say, you're back. This is a Deadpool movie. And then to finally see Wolverine be vicious and be a killer. And then you have, I believe there were two main fights between Wolverine and Deadpool. And to have it in an open field for the first, and then to have it in a car for the second, just shows that, there's a lot of thought that has to go into these fights, which you wish Star Wars had thought about when they were planning how their fights go. And then the whole Deadpool core. I mean, oh my gosh. It was funny and it was brutal.
And by the way, confirmed, Kidpool had way more lines.
Yeah.
They were cut, and they were the most raw lines. So he would say something horrible, and all the Deadpools would go, oh, whoa, dial it back a bit. So all of that was cut.
Yeah, it was filmed and it was cut.
It was in the movie and cut last minute. So my thing about could there be an unrated or a harder R version of this film? Yes, we'll see if they do it. But there you go. And I do love the speech he gives about multiverses. So awesome. That was so great. So I loved it. Like I say, the stuff I loved more. The stuff that was weak stands out as weak, but doesn't ruin the film for me. So I stand by our non-spoiler review. So there you go. Now, and also the other thing, over credits, the member berries of all the X-Men stuff and Fantastic Four, I loved it. That really, they're showing scenes of Hugh Jackman when he played Wolverine for the first time. That was so good. So stay for the credits. The post-credit scene was a little payoff which is okay, ties into nothing, but it was great. It was really good.
Well, it ties into the events.
It ties into the events of the movie, explains something.
But doesn't go beyond the movie.
Exactly. So there you go. Alan, do you stand by it? Are you changed?
Yes. In fact, I believe 4DX and 3D is my next screening of Deadpool and Wolverine.
Wolverine.